All right.
Hello, everyone. I am live with Matt Cooper, your friendly neighborhood fat man, and the bearded badass. Are you gonna have to change that name if you ever have to shave?
The hopes are, honestly, my wife has actually threatened a divorce if I do shave, so I think I'm in the clear. And
Okay.
luckily, the dude that I work with, Bill Schmidt Jr., happens to be very fond of my beard. So I think I'll be golden. It's staying.
So you work for the Holistic Cloud, as we can see in the background. What's your job there?
I'm actually just I kind of do a little bit of everything here. You know what I mean? Like we only have a crew of 5 people. Well, there's a lot more if you think about it, but in the grand scheme of things, there's 5, 6 people that actually work here that are here every single day. And I mean, we do everything from we sell horticultural glass pieces to Delta 8, Delta 10. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But we've gotten a range of everything here, Bubba. And that's what I love about it here.
I saw that you guys are working on becoming a dispensary eventually. That'd be awesome.
Well, yes, that is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that is where we want it to head. There is a moratorium in Bel Air that actually prevents that right now. So, since it is decriminalized, we're actually going to take it. We need a mayor to take it to city council, which we have 2 that are up for this year's election that both said that, you know what I mean, neither one of them are like, oh yeah, I'm for cannabis, but for the majority, they understand the tax revenue of it. They understand the business side of it, and that's the side they're here for, which I'm fine. Whichever side I need to get on just to get on board, I'm cool with. Put your pants on, let's go. But we have 2 mayors that said that they will take it to city council and that they will try to lift that moratorium. If they do, it's full speed ahead at that point in time.
Did you hear what Oregon did?
I have been keeping very close tabs on Oregon.
They're like, are we gonna legalize cannabis? Fuck it, let's legalize crack and
well, see, and like, as I don't know, I'm for that, but yet again, at the same time, I'm against that for a lot of reasons. That I am a recovering addict. But the one thing that I will say is when Oregon went like this is Sparta on it, it made my job really freaking hard, because you try explaining to some 5 million 60 and over people that cannabis really isn't as bad as they were told their entire lives.
Yeah.
And then they're, well, if we tell you yes and we sign this and we vote for it, you guys are just going to try to let them do everything. Damn it. No.
You know, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate on this, because if you think about it, the way Oregon did it, a lot of people are hating on it, which, you know, we all have both sides of the spectrum. I'd like to see things from both sides, because if you think about it, it gets the drugs off the street.
Well, see,
you can buy it in stores.
To play devil's advocate even further with that one, and which is why I said I do see both sides of it. The majority of overdoses happen because most people are afraid to get in trouble.
Yep.
Okay. They leave people there. They take off because they're afraid to get in trouble themselves. If it's not illegal, less people are going to die. You're going to have more safe spaces where people can actually use properly and safely. I just feel like there are upside to full legalization within reason. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
if I'm not mistaken, doesn't most overdoses happen because every dose is different? And so if it's legal, every dose is the same because it's in a shop. Therefore, even less overdoses. Plus, no dirty needles, because the heroin comes with a free needle. Like, no fentanyl. Like,
the fentanyl issue. And I mean, you have places like New York, and there are a lot of other bigger cities where they even have places where people can go, and there's registered nurses and phlebotomists that help administer the medication, just to make sure that it's done in a safe environment, and that, you know what I mean, they're monitored the whole time. And with that being said, I could fully get behind that, because as bad as this epidemic's gotten, like, let's face facts, we've lost that war for how many years now? You know what I mean? Like, that war, one side didn't even show up, and I'll let you guess which one it was. Because it's still here.
What's crazy is you watch documentaries about why weed's illegal right now, and it's all racial reasons. The original reason, all of it, because they needed a reason to arrest black people, because this was the 50s, 60s when they first made it illegal. They needed a reason to arrest black people, and they couldn't find out reasonings why. They mostly smoke marijuana. So a lot of jazz musicians was smoking reefer. So a guy came out with Reefer Madness, and he ended up paying the government to make it illegal because it makes white women want to sleep with black jazz musicians. And it was a date rape drug. And that's the reason why it was made illegal in the first place. And as dumb as our government is, they didn't realize they were making hemp illegal too. And that was their major source of making paper back then.
And the amount, dude, and even further, the amount of money they've spent, even since the Farm Bill was passed.
Yeah.
The amount of money that's been spent on illegal search and seizures on hemp.
You know what else is crazy? Something else that is nuts is to think about is the reasoning why it's still illegal is because cigarette and alcohol companies and the lumber industry are all together paying to keep it illegal because it's a threat to all three.
Absolutely.
The Say No to Drugs campaign was made by tobacco companies. What the fuck's tobacco?
That's been my dude. The amount of people that would open a door and with a beer in their hand, a cigarette in their hand, or both, talking about that shit's poison and slam the door in my face like you're drunk. Am I in the Twilight Zone? But you would be surprised.
You know what's worse is the old hippies that are against it.
Well, but see, a lot of the old hippies are against it because they feel that if they wouldn't have smoked the weed, they wouldn't have done the LSD. It's like, no, that was you chasing dopamine. Don't blame the plant.
Right.
But a lot of it, they kept the racial disparity there. Just simple. It gave them probable cause to search African-American people's cars.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It gave them a chance to search people of colors, vehicles, their homes, everything. And that's why they kept it as long as they could, which finally, luckily, in most states now, that is no longer probable cause, which justly and rightfully so, it shouldn't be, because it should not be my word saying, oh, well, I smell something.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Come on. Come on. And I don't know how many times I got pulled over and I was stoned as shit and they never even looked at me twice.
I had a cop pull me over one time. I wasn't driving. I was in the passenger seat. And from behind, I could be mistaken as a black man. And this cop walks up to the passenger side, not the driver's side, the passenger side, and asked me for my ID and registration. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, is there anything in the vehicle that I should know about? I'm like, number one, she's driving. It ain't even my vehicle.
Right.
So I don't fucking know. For two, if you find weed in this car, we're smoking it together. Because I don't know it's here.
See, and that's why I mean, I've been on the train, and I'm a medical marijuana patient in the state of Ohio, along with everybody that I hang out with now. But there's a lot of people that can't afford it. But like with me, dude, I'm telling you, there are 21 conditions, and the hardest part is being able to afford it. And that's why I advocate, and Bill advocates so hard to try to get this stuff passed and at least decriminalized, because a lot of people can't afford to pay the $250.
Yeah.
And then whatever they need to go pay the other doctor to, you know what I mean, to get your stuff faxed over to make sure you meet those the conditions and criteria. A lot of people can't afford that. So if we at least decriminalize it, the most the police can do is take it at that point in time. Because I'm sorry, if I can go down to a bar, which there's, pick one, there's 6 in a freaking 4-block radius, and act like an idiot every freaking night if I want to, and it's perfectly okay. It would help people make plans to do it even.
Right.
Why can't I sit in my house, or like where we want to hang out and smoke a bowl? It should be the exact same thing as alcohol across the board, especially when look how many fatalities you have due to marijuana.
None.
Look how many people get stoned and go and shoot their dog and kidnap their wife and don't remember it the next day.
None.
You know what I mean?
In the words of Dave Chappelle, You might have thought he was dead, but he'll be up in a few hours and eat everything in the
Right.
house. No, that was Cat Williams. Sorry, Cat Williams.
It was Cat Williams. But either or, I mean, Chappelle's still a smoker too.
Speaking of,
and that, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just got a random thought. Speaking of Dave Chappelle, have you seen his recent special?
I have.
What's your thoughts on them wanting to cancel him and Netflix saying, we're not going to, we know what we bought?
Okay, truth be told, I see both sides of it. I see where Chappelle's coming from, just from the standpoint of making things make sense. And I see why people are upset. At the same time, I do feel like we're starting to nitpick. Comedy was always one of those gray areas where most things weren't off limits. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And most of what Chappelle does anymore is storytelling. It's not even so much comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny, realistic storytelling. So that being said, I feel like maybe people might have overreacted a little bit, but I feel like he's always been this way. He's always said the things he says. Why are we just now upset about it?
My thing with Chappelle is we needed this special, and hear me out. We needed this in our society.
We need to go to reality.
Dave Chappelle is the Richard Pryor of our generation. We needed that. As much as the trans community wants to hate on him, and I have friends that are transsexual. The fact is nothing is off limits when it comes to stand-up comedy because it's sarcasm. And a lot of people are taking what Dave said out of context too, because the guy is very sarcastic. He said
a lot of what cancel culture does is taken out of context. If we're 1,000% honest.
Yeah, because Dave Chappelle said at his special, he said that he shoved his transsexual friend away because I'm transphobic. He's not saying he actually is transphobic. He was being sarcastic towards the people that said he was, so he embraced it and said that he was. It's not that he actually is. That's his way of saying, fuck you, I'll just accept it.
Well, and absolutely. And he's always, and again, to go back to my original point, he's always made those kind of points.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what George Carlin would have said on the subject?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like in today's day and age, people are looking for reasons to be offended.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be politically correct nowadays. And that's why I try my hardest. But at the same time, I also try to be as true to myself as humanly possible online too. So it's a really thin line to walk for me.
Well, what's crazy is about stand-up is there's comedians out there that have said a lot worse than Dave Chappelle and gotten away with it.
Oh, my Lord, yeah. Basically, it comes down to who wanted to be offended at that point in time. Because, let's be honest, we can go back through a lot of... You stick on Dave Chappelle, we can go through a lot of his stand-up comedy. And we can find a lot of stuff that would make the people upset if we wanted to.
He's made fun of his own people. Every episode of the Chappelle Show, for God's sakes.
I was gonna say, yeah, if we're gonna talk the Chappelle Show, which was on like television.
He was trying.
I've got a few skits I want y'all to go watch. And that was on, and that's what drives me nuts. The generation that grew up watching Chappelle Show, South Park, Family Guy, are the most offended out of everybody. It's like, what the hell happened in a couple years?
I'm all for equal rights, and yes, words do hurt, especially when it hurts a movement. But there's a difference.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between comedy and just spreading hate.
Well, see, and I mean, and I know there are certain jokes can go over the line, and I do understand that. But when it comes to sarcasm, and especially when you're talking about like current events, if you're not like blatantly attacking a certain group or like just being outright disrespectful where every joke is super distasteful, I feel like that would be the issue, and that's when it would become a problem.
And the problem I have with people trying to cancel Dave over the special, they're all people that haven't seen the thing, and you can tell they haven't because
They've seen the clip.
Yeah, because Dave Chappelle said at the end of the special, he's like, I've said this time and time again. I have nothing wrong with transsexual people. I have a problem with white people.
and he's always been honest about that, though.
and he also stated that he told this long, influential story about this transsexual comedian he was friends with, that the trans community went after and she killed herself. And people completely ignored him saying all of that and just want to cherry pick when he made fun of the trans community.
They found the spot that they wanted to be bothered by.
Yep.
And that's it's happening more and more. Like I've seen that there was a group that was upset with Eminem again for a while. Like they've been trying to cancel that man for years. Y'all just need to get in line. Like I don't know. And honestly, the songs that they're even upset about nowadays, have they not heard any of his other albums? They get so much worse.
The thing is if it's, in my opinion, unless it's a crime or somebody was raped or killed or whatever, what somebody said 10 years ago or 20 years ago should not be used against them because people mature in age.
Absolutely. And I will say, I can't even say like to not hold it against them. Cause I mean, like, depending on what was said, like, I guess there's always that, you always have those, well, what if they said this? And I mean, there can be things that can be super heinous that can be said. But I mean, if it's been a 10-year span and you find something that's less than tasteful, I guess, I don't feel like we should, like, you know, go on a witch hunt over it. Yeah. And I feel like that's what's happening more and more and more nowadays, is they're going and finding whatever they can now. They'll find something about something they don't like. They'll hyperfixate on them. They'll find one thing that was like 6 years old and go, finally, proof he's an asshole.
Well,
here it is.
In the words of George Carlin, it's the context of the joke that makes it good or bad. It's not what it said. Because George Carlin said at this special, this isn't me saying this, so don't come after me. But George Carlin said that you can't joke about rape. And he was like, there's certain jokes that maybe are distasteful. But he said, imagine Porky Pig being raped by Elmer Fudd. And I'm like, that's fucked up. And he's like, that's why they call him Porky. Like jokes like that. He's like, you can joke about anything. It's the context.
Yeah. And see, but the problem is nowadays is people don't really, context is a thing of the past. People's context is whatever viewpoint they want to see it in. Even because I have literally seen some people, I mean, like, really reach. I mean, I'm on every social media platform. You know what I mean? Like, I've come across some real freaking winners, and I have seen people, I mean, reach, twist them, and like they'll take a comment and they'll twist that bad boy. And even once you can have like 30 people pointing out the absolute obvious, like, big picture, broad spectrum deal, those people will still hyperfixate on that. But yeah, see, but right here, if you look at it the way I'm looking at it and close one eye and only read the and this sentence, he was mean right here.
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting with a lot of stuff. And it's getting old. You wonder when it's going to change.
What makes me nervous is I've been on and off in comedy since I was 5, and there's some fucked up things I've said in my youth. Because I have a very weird sense of humor.
See, I have a dark sense of humor too. I mean, I think with addiction comes that natural dark, like abnormally dark humor.
Yeah.
And through comedy, I think there's probably some things that if people dug far enough, I've probably said some things that nowadays would be considered completely, like, ruthless. But at that point in time, I guess people just weren't as sensitive about topics.
You know what comedian almost got canceled before she died, but she actually handled it the way that comedians should? And it was Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers caught a lot of flack. A lot of flack. It made it work.
She handled it the same way Dave Chappelle does, though. And here's what I mean. Comedians, when they apologize, that's when their career's over. That's when people start going after shit. Dave Chappelle and Joan Rivers both refused to apologize. They explained the joke and why it was funny to them, and then they moved the fuck on.
Facts. The art plug and Billy Blaze just pulled up. Sorry.
I thought you said Blaze Bailey. I'm like, the dude that was an Iron Maiden.
No, that would be dope. That'd be dope. But no, just as cool would be Billy Blaze. He's the one who's responsible for most, if not all, of the decriminalizations that have ever been done in this area.
Well, if you guys ever need somebody to march with you.
Well, no, that's actually what I was telling you about. We have a couple events that we're getting set up, so I will get you some notice. That way you can come hang out. Like, dude, it's a blast, man.
It's just I need 3 weeks in advance due to work or close to.
Oh no, I'll make sure you got some notice. But
Okay.
it's a blast, man.
So I saw you're getting your teeth worked on finally.
What's up, G? Yeah, dude, on the 28th of this month, actually, I'm finally going to go. God, it's going to cost a lot, and I hate the dentist, bro. I am terrified. Like, if I have any fear in the world, it's the dentist. Like, that's it. It's spiders.
But at least he's going to drill you. You know what I mean?
Oh, bro. And he gives me a little something to feel good first. Thanks, Doc. All right.
I actually went to the dentist one
numbs
time.
It up first.
I went to this dentist one time, and this probably ain't going to make sense, but I have a cavity, but it's not a cavity. Like, it's not... You know how cavities get dirty and
right.
It's just a clean hole in my tooth. Well, my dentist is like, you got a hole in your tooth, but it's pretty clean. So if you keep your hole clean, I won't have to fill it. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I want
to talk dirty to me, Doc.
So fill my dirty hole.
I mean,
I quit brushing that tooth.
Make him get in there. Make him get in there.
I like fucking with my doctors. I don't know if you do too, but I had a doctor.
I fuck with everybody, man. Like I'm equal opportunity.
Well, my doctor put his finger in my ass. Not because I needed him to. I just asked. No, I'm just kidding. I was having a medical problem. He stuck his finger.
But did you notice his rings and watch up by your ears though, like up on your shoulders?
Yeah.
Not true. So weird.
No, but he put his finger in my ass.
Weirdest dentist.
And he's like, I don't feel anything. I'm like, go deeper. And he didn't like that.
If you don't lose your ring, we're not talking, Doc.
So you was telling me that you had a page hacked one time, and we're all for porn and random topics. You said you had a page hacked, and you sent them weird porn. Now, before you tell me the full story about that, I would like to cover that a mutual, I don't know if he's your friend or not, but you know of him. Nathan Kepner was on the show, and he talked about the weirdest porn he ever watched. And this actually helped me realize I don't have to do dishes. And you'll see why. This is a video of this guy takes forceps and opens up this woman's ass and pours Fruit Loops in and milk and starts eating the Fruit Loops. I've been washing dishes this whole time, and I mean, you could have just done that.
I've been doing it wrong. I need to call my wife after this one. And let her know we're getting rid of all plates and silverware as far as we're concerned.
So what did you send this hacker?
Okay, look. So, as I had said, my original page had been hacked, and I realized that it wasn't a bot. I had been conversating with said person, trying to figure out if I could even find out who it was. I had gone to Facebook, sent them my ID, like literally everything to prove to them it wasn't me. They still wouldn't shut it down. So I was like, you know what? I'm not taking this sitting down. I'm at least going to annoy the shit out of this dude. So, bro, I took to the dark web. All right, Tor browser open. We got there. And you would be, okay, I could show you some weird porn that the world knows about, and then we could show you the stuff that's on the other side of the web where most don't tread. All right, we're not talking XNXX. All right, nah, we're not. No, Pornhub.
Not X videos.
No. All right, this is like some backdoor red tube.
You said backdoor.
Oh, bro. Okay. You would be surprised the amount of midget clown combos they have. Okay, they had this one where this man literally put. It looked like a swim cap on his head. And you can see where I'm going with this, but he reverse birth.
I seen that.
Bro, I sent it. I fucking sent her, bud. I sent so much porn that I'm pretty sure is illegal in some states to that inbox. Like, if the government ever does finally shut that thing down and looks into that inbox, they're gonna investigate me. Like, what the fuck was this guy's problem?
This is probably gonna be your last appearance.
Dude, I was making myself blush with some of the shit that I was sending to that inbox. Then finally it blocked me. So I made a ghost account and continued to spam that bad boy like it was no one's business. Okay. They have what they call Brazilian fart porn.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Lovely.
You'd be surprised how in depth that stuff can go.
Did you know there's a porn that a buddy of mine showed me this where people love being kicked in the genitals like really hard?
You know, I have seen that, and I've actually heard that there's a thing online now, like where like it's kind of like a, I don't know, it's like a Tinder, but like you meet these dominatrix, either, you know what I mean, women, men, midget, whatever it may be, and you literally have them come meet you and kick you, and you twig and giggleberries, and then you pay them money, and then they leave.
That's the life.
I'm in the wrong line of work, first and foremost, bro. Bring me a 20, I will kick you in the junk, and we'll go about our day all day long. Line them up.
The ball kicker. Your friend Brady Shepard said hi, by the way, in the chat.
What's up, Brady? Hi. Joni. That's the art plug right there.
What's up?
Michael Alisea.
What up?
See, support.
I'm watching you, Mike Lazowski. Always watching.
Dude, I have one of the best teams ever. That man is a genius with a paintbrush.
Like Bob Ross style?
Bro, Bob Ross with a touch of Rican, it's amazing.
Did you ever
he's like Bob Ross with a temper. It's great.
Did you ever watch Bob Ross's documentary on Netflix? Dude, that shit is wild. I honestly
figured it was going to be. I figured it was going to be because a man like that, as calm and cool and collected and peaceful as he is, had to have some absolute train wreck shit going on before that camera cut on. Before he was putting them happy bushes, that man was going through some shit.
He was smoking some happy bush. You can't tell me otherwise.
All those happy little trees he was putting he was letting you know where all his growth spots were via pictures. All right, he was letting treasure map.
I always heard this interesting take on it, and it's not me saying it's true or not. It's just a funny take. Is that all the paintings he did is where he hid his bodies?
You know what? I've dug into that little rabbit hole there, and it started with a Reddit forum. All right, it was a Reddit post that ended up at like 4 a.m. I'm sitting there, coffee, still scrolling, because I mean these QAnon people had picked apart Bob Ross's life and have you ever seen Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunters?
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, well, see, since you haven't seen it, that analogy falls flat on its face. But regardless, it shows how like his life, if you twist certain things and tweak it, you could really actually make that fit to where he would have been like the perfect murderer, like a Dexter style murderer.
I got a good question about the QAnon people, since we're talking about them. They're crazy ass people. Why do they investigate and make up all these things about people that hasn't been proven or hasn't been looked into, but they don't talk about Trump, their God, who was on Epstein's plane?
Because the more they talk about Trump, the more you dig in. Because the more you try to dig in to debunk them, you know what I mean? Like the more shit you find out he really didn't do, and that the propaganda wasn't there, or he did do whatever. You know what I mean? Like you dig deeper into trying to prove them wrong. So they'd rather put out the misinformation, let people get on there, and you're a fucking nutcase, but then you still get the likes and views.
Yeah.
But no, they want, and no one will say anything against Trump because there's already been so much digging into him that I don't think anybody wants to try to unearth anything else. Because at this point in time, I don't know how, and I'm not even just singling him out. We're gonna use the collective.
Yeah.
How most of them aren't in prison.
Well, the thing is, okay, I dislike all politicians, but the reason why I mostly go for Trump is because there's so many people in this area that love the guy. And I'm like, you do realize he's friends with the Clintons. He's friends with all of them. Like, he's in on the fucking thing. Like, he's part of it.
Because honestly, a lot of people, truth be told, and for some reason, there's something about my appearance. People think that I'm a Trump guy. Like, I don't know if it's just the way I talk, the way I carry myself, what the fuck ever. But like, I don't like Biden. I don't like politicians, period, either. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I don't trust them. Have a good day, Johnny. I don't know. There's something about me that people just immediately come up and, yeah, dude, Trump 2024. And it's like, who's the independent guy? Who's the other choice?
Who's the other guy? Like,
hey, who else do we have?
I got a politician for you that's been running for like the last 40 years. And he kind of gained momentum as a meme a few years ago. His name is Vermin Supreme. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
I have heard of him. I do not know much about him.
He wears a rubber boot on his head, upside down, like a hat. He's a libertarian, but he's a comedian that's running for president. He's been running on the free pony platform for the last 40 years. Every American gets a free pony. He believes in dental health care, but in the sense of where monkeys will knock on your door and make sure you brush your teeth. He also is the only politician to have a zombie apocalypse plan. He'll put them on a giant wheel and create renewable electricity so that the zombies have a job. And he did. Good to see you, Funky, by the way. Funky's a good friend of mine. She has her own show, The Voice It Show. But
oh yeah,
he's a great politician because he's picking apart the shit. And then he says at the end of his speech, vote for me and remember that a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away. And I don't plan on keeping any of my campaign promises.
You know what? At this point in time, I could get behind that. Like, I would push that. Like, but if I push that for him, I better at least get my pony, or out you go, bud. Like,
and
I think we need to find, like, we keep looking for the stuffed shirt rich guys. Why? No. We need to find a working class, like somebody from the fucking oil field, somebody from the fucking coal mine, somebody from, you know what I mean? Like a construction worker who has been stoned, been broke, been drunk and peed on themselves, been into a couple fist fights, like people who have had real life problems that are somewhat smart. You know what I mean? Like we've moved in the wrong place.
You know who should have won in 2016? Joe Exotic.
No.
He ran.
Looking back on things, we have Carol Baskins or you had Hillary Clinton.
Did you see they're making a live action film of that shit? Well, it was live action, but they're making an actual film of that.
Oh, I figured it was only a matter of time for that to happen.
And there's also a season 2 coming too. It's already commercialized through Netflix.
See, I haven't seen anything about the season 2, but I honestly don't get to watch a lot of TV anymore either. I did watch the entirety of the Joe Exotic series. Me and my kids actually watched most of it. I was working for Rough Cut still at the time. We were hauling a wash trailer down to Jane Lou, West Virginia. And we watched it on my little dash monitor thing all the way down, all the way back, and then finished watching it when we got home. I think we binge watched that in like fucking a couple days.
It's a great show to watch high.
Oh, and trust me, tested out that theory, and I'd have to concur. There's not many things I do that doesn't involve Giggle Bush, though. So, being honest.
I have to be careful now because I'm in Ohio. In Arizona, it was so legal out there that they had a restaurant that you could go to and be like, I want a pizza, 500 milligrams. I want a double cheese. Like, they had a full edible cafe.
That's what I'm like. All right. Once we can get the legalization to push through, which I honestly, like I said, Ohio is I'd say within a year, truth be told, which is why we're still trying to push the decriminalization, because the more that we push, the more serious they see that we are for this change. Mm-hmm. But however, once the legalization goes through here, dude, I want to see smoke lounges go up. I want to see so much stuff that would bring this area back and put it back on the map, just because this area deserves it. You know what I mean? Like, we have been the last for everything good that happens in the fucking country. We're always the last to do it. You know what I mean? So I want to make up for lost time as soon as that legalization goes through, dude. We're popping fucking smoke shops up. We're popping smoke lounges up. It's gonna be nuts.
I have an idea once it becomes legal, and I know you're planning on making your own podcast. By the way, I saw that you was talking about that, but I plan on having a secondary podcast at Pink Sock called Wake and Bake, where we have guests on occasionally, and we just smoke a certain strain, tell people the medical benefits of that certain strain, what it tastes like, what it's like, so everybody knows. It's an educational program. And we also drink coffee, and we all just discuss random shit while we're high as fuck.
We could definitely we could definitely run the two ideas together there, bud.
Wake and Bake,
sure.
A morning talk show for stoners.
Hey, dude, Wake and Bake dabbing with dad. Come on, man. Got a ring to it.
Waking with dads.
Waking baking with dad. There you go.
I'm not a dad though, but I'm getting a dad bod, so that's close enough.
Close enough. You're at least in the ballpark.
Oh,
You're halfway there.
By the way, Ohio isn't the last for everything. Florida is. It's still illegal in Florida too.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, everything's illegal in Florida. But have you seen Florida?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Everything crazy and fun in the world started with Florida man or woman.
Yep. Now, one of the lasts and everything, which I don't even consider it a state anymore, is Texas.
Texas is a breed of its own, okay? Texas is going to do what Texas is going to do. And we just got to let them, like right now, I think Texas is going through a change. Yeah. But like, I think Texas needs to go like see some other states for a little while, see if it works out, and then like really find themselves again. And then they'll get their shit together, though, I promise.
The thing with Texas, though, is they wanted so hard to be their own country. They created their own energy grid, and then they lost power and wanted our help. I'm like, no, you're on your own, bud. You want to be your own country.
See, and that's the thing. Everybody but that's the same thing with like, let's say you start a small company with a couple of your buddies. You know what I mean? You guys are doing good. You're making good money. Your work's turning out great. One of those people in that little startup group always feel like they're better than the rest of the group and that they could do better off on their own. Mm-hmm. So they go and they make their little backdoor deals and they set up their little thing and then they go off on their own. And then usually by wintertime, when they realize that work slows down, they got to come on back and, hey, can I come work a couple hours for you guys? You think that shit stops even at the state level? Mm-mm. No. They realize it real quick how good they had it when they had everything else. But it's, oh, well, we can do this on our own. Can you, though? Especially, Texas is amazing. I love the people from Texas. Like, I had a blast when I went down to Texas. But at the same time, there's still a lot of very backward mentality having people that inhabit Texas. I think once that older generation either gets with the program and does some research or goes away, I feel like Texas is going to come back like in a really big way because they, as far as the state, as far as like stuff to do there, like, you know what I mean? Like the younger people there, like it's fun. They actually do have a very open mind. You know what I mean? I think Texas will be lit once they lose that old school mentality.
Once they lose the old school mentality, they'll just be California on crack.
Yeah, they're gonna be California with Cowboys.
I've never been to California. I was out west, but I never got to see Cali. But I heard it's beautiful, but it's a bitch to live in, man.
Okay, look, Cali is great. I was not a fan of San Francisco though. It wasn't so much like the people were great and like it was fun, but the amount of human shit on the sidewalks was alarming. Like, I mean, like legit, like just piles of poo everywhere because the homeless issue is so bad there.
It's also bad in Phoenix, and I got a funny story to tell you. Tony, my buddy Tony Matai, you probably know him. He was working one day out at the Jiffy Lube that he worked at the time. I don't know if he still works there. I believe he does. There's this homeless guy that would take a dumpster, not a trash can, a dumpster, and would drag it 3 stores down and then would shit behind it and then leave. Why not just leave the dumpster there? But he wanted to shit in a different spot.
Well, and in that way, you know what I mean? He's got his cover, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. It's like a mobile porta potty. Like, I feel like that's a lot of work, and we could have done that a little more efficiently, but I'm not hating the method.
Right.
And I mean, it's just a funny story to me. I don't have to deal with that.
It's not my job.
Facts. That's above my pay grade.
What's crazy is when it comes to like the West, I would have thought my complaint would have been the heat, but it's not that bad. It like, yeah, you're like, it's 127, but it's not like Ohio 100 degrees.
Well, no, because Ohio's 100 degrees comes with like 9,000 degrees of humidity where you feel like you can't breathe. At least in like Texas and stuff, like, yeah. I don't know, it could be as hot as it wants to be, and you still feel like you can breathe. I think it's just the humidity that caused that issue. I don't know. I could stand Florida weather and California weather and Texas weather all the time. Ohio's summers suck.
Doesn't
people from Florida like hate it here?
Isn't Florida though? Don't they get high humidity too? Like 100 and something degrees high humidity?
And they do, but I've only ever been in Florida for like 2 days at a time.
You couldn't live there probably.
No. Great vacation.
They got creatures out there that would make your blood go thin, man. They got big ass alligators and poisonous lizards and shit. When I was living out in Arizona, they was like, we have scorpions and rattlesnakes and bull. I got nervous as fuck, but where I was living at, I hardly even saw a scorpion.
Dude, see, fuck all that. I can handle all of that. One place I'll never go, and you can just mark it off my fucking to-do list, it ain't ever happening, is Australia.
Hey, Matt, you need to come back on the show when my co-host is here. He's from Australia, and he lives there.
Yeah, see? They got spiders the size of my goddamn hand. No, thanks. No. I've seen the pictures of the big-ass web. No.
Dude, we need to do this more often because he could probably tell you some shit.
Oh, bro, I sit there. I've gone on YouTube and just looked up Australia scary things, and you would be surprised what comes up. Because I mean, Christ, they've got bugs that look like they can eat me. Like everything in Australia is a gangster. No thanks.
Everything in Australia is designed to kill you, bro, including their fucking kangaroos and shit.
Well, like, okay, Australia was actually like, it was started by like felons and like bad, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like an island where they put like the worst of the worst people, and then they fucking flourished. Like Australia was like the pipeline of the world. Everyone with a felony and a bad attitude went there, and then it's like everything there in the ecosystem was like, well, we need to be able to get in the salty spittoon too. So fuck it. Now we can kill everything. And that's how, you know, birds, fish, insects, people, reptiles all exist. The kangaroos are more ripped than some of the bodybuilders I hang out with.
Did you ever see that video that kangaroo fucking has this guy's dog in a headlock and the guy comes up and straight up punches the kangaroo in the face?
Yeah, and the kangaroo looks at him like Arnold Schwarzenegger just
and then walks away like, I spared your life, near mortal.
Right, like that kangaroo almost went, nobody makes it bleed my own blood.
I love the dodgeball reference.
Had to.
Hey guys, make sure that you give us a like, follow, subscribe on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook. And you can also find Matt Cooper on Instagram at official_porchgang. TikTok, same thing. And Facebook is kind of iffy, I've noticed. You have like 2 pages. I don't know which one to.
Well, I've got my Matt Cooper and I've got my Front Porch Sessions 2 page. My Front Porch Sessions 2 page is the one that's easier to find because of my hack page. So I said to everybody there.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because I looked up Porch Gang and I've looked up Front Porch Sessions. I didn't know what yours going on.
No, the original Front Porch Sessions was linked to my original page that was hacked. So I had to let both of those go and I had to start my entire Facebook and Front Porch Sessions 2 page over, which really sucked because I had those pages rocking. It's been a little slower to start since I've started my page back over, but I mean, it is what it is. But anyone that wants to check it out, wants to support, go to the Front Porch Sessions 2 on Facebook or everything else he just said there on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
And also all of our links, including mine and his, is in the description for the show. So.
Appreciate that.
I have to. I usually I used to make a special image to pop up on the screen with all the links and stuff, but life's gotten so busy that I just put it in the description. People will find it.
Well, no, facts. Dude, if anyone understands being busy, it's me. Like I have to put a belt on the Canada bus today so we can have it done in time to go back over. We need to hit Barrie, Yorkville, Tiltonsville, and Rayland. Just raising awareness for those decrims because we only have till November 2nd is, it. But I'll be outside Martins Ferry, one of their voting stations, the main polling station at Martins Ferry. I'll be standing outside there, yelling, screaming, probably have a weed grass skirt on again, and my big honk if you support sign reminding y'all that flip that ballot over. It's on the back of every single one of them mugs. It should be a good year for these decrims as long as we can get out here the next couple weeks between social media and just us out causing a ruckus. We should have enough people notified that they should pass.
I noticed that you keep saying the word decriminalized, but isn't it already somewhat decriminalized in Ohio?
Yes. Actually, let me embellish on that just for a second. Ohio is decriminalized, which basically means a misdemeanor amount is a $150 fine across the board, whether it's paraphernalia, whatever it is, a $150 fine. Mm-hmm. Now, what we're proposing, and like the same one that we passed, they passed 5 years ago in Bel Air, you're not changing the law, we're changing the penalty by citizen initiative. Okay. So we're taking that penalty of 150 down to 0. So as long as you're under the 200-gram limit, most they can do is take it, unless it happens to be you're a medical marijuana patient, your stuff is in it's container with your name on it. It doesn't matter how much is there, as long as it's got your name on it, they can't touch it. But yeah, our decriminalization simply just give you those protections of you can have up to an ounce on you at any point in time, and the most they can do is take it. You're never going to get a ticket. You're not going to have to worry about it going on your record, because there's people that have gotten simple possession charges or a paraphernalia charge when they're 17, 24. Yeah. They fall on hard times. You can't get subsidized housing. You have a hard time getting food assistance, SNAP benefits, anything like that, just because of a simple possession charge. A simple possession of marijuana is looked the exact same way as it's looked at for a possession of crack, misdemeanor amount of any other illegal substance, which that just should not be the case.
So the next step after this passes would obviously be what Arizona and the West did, and that'd be recreationally legal, where you are allowed to have, I think Arizona, you can only purchase a certain amount in the dispensary, but you can have as much as you need at home as long as you don't have it on your person in public. You can only grow.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And you can grow. You can grow 6 plants a person per household, 12 a total for the household, which I think that would be the best way to go.
Well, actually, the state. All right, let me back up real fast. A couple months ago, the federal government offered they want to end the prohibition on cannabis. They had brought it to the table. They want to take it to the House, and they want to end the prohibition on cannabis. So that actually kind of foreshadowed Ohio offering House Bill 210, which was a decriminalization, which now is a legalization bill from what I've been told. They went ahead and most of the growers, they're trying to get the growers in place in Ohio because they can't go rec until they have enough resource to be able to do so. Yeah. So they have to get the growers who are able and big enough and can afford to go with the recreational market, get them in place, get them set up. They're going to have to do a little bit of law changing within this year. But if this House Bill 210 goes the way it's supposed to, it would give everybody 12 plants home grow if you're over 21. You can have 7 ounces. You can gift up to 200 grams. So then that was under the original decriminalization, was what they were going to allow you to have before it became any type of issue with state government at all or city officials. Now that they're offering as a legalization, it'll give them a little bit of leeway room that they can still alter how many plants they want to allow you to have. But the fact they're even offering home grow at all was way out of left field. We were expecting, just like when they gave the medical market, they cap a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like okay, you can have flour, you can have distillates, you can have whatever, but it's going to be at 70% or it's capped at 28%, 30% THC. You can only vape, dry herb vape or wax vape, whatever. they try to cap certain things like that. So if they do put the legalization through, you'd be able to smoke no matter how you wanted to at that point.
See, I like that because in Arizona, it's a little different than that. When I was out there, if you're a rec patient, you can only buy up to certain milligrams or up to certain THC levels, but the medical patients can buy whatever.
Well, see, and that's honestly, I think once the recreational went through, that was probably what it was here. Now, right now in Ohio's medical, they cap. You know what I mean? I think it's 70 or 80%, and that's all you can get in Ohio. Now, if we decide to go up to Michigan, we can buy whatever we want. Which I don't know. I feel like who is to say that I'm a little bigger than you. Who's to say that how much THC I need a day is the same that you know what I mean? Like what study was done? Show me the numbers that says that your body weight can support the amount of THC that mine would need to sustain whatever my issue is that I'm treating. I don't know. I don't feel like they should be able to tell us how much we would need a day as far as milligram strength of our cannabis.
The argument that I have too is like, I would rather somebody get stoned recreationally. I'm not even going to talk about the medical benefits because there are there, but let's just talk recreationally.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just talk recreationally. A doctor can give you opiates, which is illegal in the United States unless it's prescribed by a doctor. They can give you opiates, which is medical heroin, and you can get addicted to that and it's fine. But you can't smoke a fucking joint to help with the same problems.
Well, see, and that's all right. I'm going to use myself as an example there. And this is the other reason why I'm pushing so hard for the legalization so that people can go with the recreational market and be able to go smoke and treat themselves. I was on 14 different medications. When I got myself clean, I started taking care of myself between the high blood pressure and the anxiety, depression, PTSD, other couple things they were treating with 9 other medications. When I started smoking and started smoking heavy, I was actually able, like I said, they took my lisinopril. I'm down to 20 milligrams a day where I was on 60. They had me on a million different freaking anxiety medications. Just simply smoking daily and ingesting cannabis. Mm-hmm. It's got me off. I got off pills to get put back on pills.
That's fucked up.
You know what I mean? Like, I got off pills and I still have to take 9 pills a day. What? So when I started smoking, like, and that's a lot of people, like, weed helps a lot of stuff.
What people don't want to talk about is I've seen so many posts of people blaming addicts for being addicts. What people don't want to talk about is a lot of people
blaming the doctors.
A lot of people don't blame the doctors, which I don't have the data in front of me, so I'm not going to claim I know for sure. But I believe the last time I checked, 60% of Americans that are addicts because they were prescribed a medication that got them addicted. They were taken off, and now they're addicted to heroin because that is the street version of what they were taking.
It's actually 67. It's actually 67%. 67% of people that are in it. So you were actually 1,000% in the ballpark. 67% of Americans are addicted to prescription painkillers from a licensed doctor. And to add to that, most of them started those medications before the age of 20.
And wasn't 30-something% addicted because their mother was an addict when they were born, so they were born an addict? So that means we got like 10 to 20% that are addicts by choice.
And then what's even worse is they prescribe Subutex to pregnant women, which granted, I took Suboxone, I took Subutex. So, but they prescribe those to pregnant women. Subutex and Suboxone are so much worse to withdraw from than like regular heroin or prescription painkillers. Because, all right, it took like 6 weeks to come off of subs, like to not withdraw from them. It was that bad. Where after about a week of dope, after about a week of doing pills, whatever, once you get the first 3-4 days over, you're kind of over that hump and you're on the uphill slide. Subs took forever, man. Like it so much worse than what we were on to begin with. Well, so much worse.
Going back to
and you give it to a pregnant woman?
Going back to the data, that's like, I don't know why they give that to pregnant women. They need to stop that. But back to like data, when we were talking 10 to 20% of people are addicted by choice, as they would say, but you're not taking into account the 15% of the 20% is on it because they can't afford to go see a doctor due to our medical care. So they're going somewhere that will help with their mental illness. So only 2 to 5% are just addicts to be addicts.
Oh yeah, no, and honestly, most addicts are chasing dopamine. Most addicts have underlying mental health issues that were never addressed. Nothing was ever done about them. And this is where we ended up. I had the same issue where mine was more or less I didn't talk about it. You know what I mean? I was raised in a family where, like, me, my mom and dad were great, don't get me wrong, but we didn't really talk feelings. That's not something we did. You pulled your pants up and you just did your shit. And then as I got older, you know what I mean, you learn some new things, especially through, I tell everybody, the best way to get through life, your favorite Giggle Bush strain and the number of a really good therapist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, therapy is what it is. But, I mean, most addicts are treating an underlying health issue. Cut and dry.
What's fucked up though is people don't want to say, people want to blame the addicts and all that stuff. How about blame the system we have? We're the only developed country that does not have universal single payer taxpayer health care. We're the only country. If we had that, there'd be less addicts because they'd be getting the help they need. They'd be seeing a therapist, all of that. Plus, legalize cannabis in the states where cannabis is legal. There is less of a problem with mental health.
Oh, well, see, you can go look at the studies done on any state that is legalized across the board in the first year. Their crime rate dove by 40% at minimum. Their mental health cases, as far as the overdoses and suicides from mental health issues, went down by 33% in the very first year. The money they made over the first fiscal year was fucking insane. But they started to they had to admit by the data, cannabis had a lot to do with their results. Like, it was what it was. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to get in the exact same amount of trouble as smoking weed as if I go and buy that pill, you're going to go get the drug of your choice anyway, because you're going to get in the same amount of trouble regardless.
Yep.
You mean if you give somebody a somewhat quote unquote safer alternative, you're not going to go do the meth. You're going to go up to the store and buy the weed. Yeah. Like, it just is what it is. Just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why that's so hard for people to see.
I also believe that I know that me and you, there's certain things we don't agree on. And I like the fact that we can sit down like adults. Like Dave Chappelle said, you don't have to agree on everything.
No. As long as we agree on the major things, I'm cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, here's the thing that I think we should do as a government. You may agree, you may not. We should treat the police system the way Amsterdam does. 4 years of college in order to become a cop, and what you do in the privacy of your own home is none of that cop's business. Drugs aren't legal in Amsterdam, believe it or not. Marijuana is still illegal out there. But if you smoke it in your own home or in a private business, they can't do anything.
Right.
It's if you have it in the streets and are selling it in the streets. You can sell it in a private business all you want. They can't do anything.
I actually don't disagree with that at all, truth be told. And I feel like a lot of law enforcement should have to have a lot more strict mental evaluations done, because there's a lot of people who, again, we're humans. At the end of the day, no matter who you are, I don't care what your background was, we're human beings. And cops, whether people want to admit it or not, do have a fucked off job, because especially nowadays, they don't have the greatest rep. People fuck with them. It is what it is. They always have. So the realistic side of it is a lot of cops are alcoholics. A lot of cops have a lot of untreated mental health issues, which does pertain to a lot of the issues that we have nowadays facing law enforcement in America. You know what I mean? Like, you have that much unchecked mental health issues. And you're giving them guns. What the fuck do you think's going to happen?
And what's fucked up, though, is we're the only country that has that short amount of training. Their job is to withhold the law and withhold the Constitution, but they don't know what the law or the Constitution even states.
Well, no, yeah, and that's a majority of our problem in this country is the fact that more citizens don't know their rights.
Yeah.
You mean even bigger problem than the cops not knowing them is the fact that most citizens do not take 4 seconds to turn around, open a book, and find out what you legally can and cannot tell a cop. Like, what you don't have to do. Like, there's just certain things that if people were just more educated on certain topics, I feel like things would be so much easier.
Yeah, and what sucks, though, is if you do know the law and you bring it up to a cop, you're probably going to get shot or arrested.
Well, and that goes back to those mental health evaluations. Who are we giving this power to? Because that's some absolute authority. Like, You know what I mean? Like they're supposed to be civil servants and public servants, but at the same time, like they live above the law. Most of them do. Like, let's be real. Now there are still some good cops out there. I know people hate to hear that. Like I know that, whatever. But there are still some, and I've met a couple of them, and most of them are very, 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 very supportive of weed. And most cops that I know that I talk, and I will never ever out them, whatever, that we talk to behind camera and off camera, wish they could smoke. They're waiting for the federal prohibition to be dropped, so hopefully their department gives them a chance to be able to smoke because they don't want to drink. You know what I mean? Like I've had officers openly admit that they would love to be able to freaking smoke instead because they don't trust themselves when they drink. They have guns in their home. They've got families at home. They already know that they fly off the handle. Some of these are combat hardened veterans that got out that had PTSD that, I mean, let's face facts, the VA doesn't do near as much as they should for these men and women's mental health when they come home. They jump right in the police academy to stay with what they know to keep themselves confident. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Like literally that's a ticking time bomb at that point in time. And you can't blame the person because of what they've been through. They've spent their entire lives trying to protect the Constitution and then protect people. And they're getting fucked for it.
And what? Because
they can't smoke.
I agree with that statement. And I also wanted to add that, like, back to the whole police violence and brutality and everything that happens, a lot of cops do not realize that their job is to protect people from each other, not people from themselves. If it's a people from themselves situation, you do not get violent with that person. You do not put your knee on their throat. You do not. No. Your job is to contain them and get them to the actual judge and executioner, not become the judge and executioner.
Well, that's the problem is nowadays, and you can see it in so many videos, the de-escalation tactics are not being used. A lot of officers are going into these situations all hopped up, all amped up, and you can see it. You can hear, like, while you can see that people, let me see how I want to word this. Because I ain't trying to get you in trouble.
Just say it.
You've got a lot of pent up testosterone running at a situation before they even get to it, knowing that they want to try to control that situation and they're trying to speak in a hardcore tone. That way it's an absolute authority now. And I think that's where a lot of cops lose that line of you're taught de-escalation tactics, but they're also taught to control the situation, and they can't find that middle spot. They can't find that middle point. And I think a lot of cops are having trouble with that. Like, yes, you do get the choice to take us to jail if we're doing something that's outside the law. Yes, you get that opportunity. But at the same time, you're supposed to be there de-escalating the situation, finding out what caused the situation, and then how to officially handle the situation, like within the constraints of the law, not coming there trying to throw your weight around and be someone, I guess, trying to be better than whoever it is you're approaching.
Yeah, and also guns should be the last go-to, not walk into somebody's house and shoot them on their couch.
Most law enforcement in other countries don't even have guns.
Amsterdam has guns, but they don't use them.
The UK, if you watch most of the UK, I mean, they do have guns in their cruisers and stuff, but most of the time they've got a baton and they've got a freaking thing of mace. And I think they have a taser. And then they have a taser. But they have less lethal options available to them. And then if they need to go to their guns, they go to their car, and they do have guns available to them if they need them, which fine, cool. But that is at least something, on that initial walk up, your hand should never be on your gun. I was watching a video the other day, and it's a prime example. Going into the video, you heard the cop radioing saying that it was an attempted suicide. They were supposed to make contact with the guy. He had ran out of the home. He was hiding in a garage. These cops pull up to the thing. There's like 8-9 cruisers there, 2 cops per cruiser. They've all got, 2 of them got freaking assault rifles. The other ones had their hands on their guns drawn out when they go into this freaking room. The dude had tried to hang himself. There was never there's nothing that was ever said about a weapon, nothing that ever said he was aggressive towards anyone. Why did they go into the situation with guns out?
When your job is to protect that person from themselves, you're just escalating the situation.
Right, you're walking into a suicidal person pointing guns in their face. I think this was in Washington State. I'll have to find the video. But Yeah, they had guns out, the whole 9 yards for an attempted suicide.
Yep. Like, why?
Right. Like, what was any of that necessary for? If anything, you've made the situation so much worse. And if you watch a lot of these videos, people are, oh, well, they should just comply. They should just comply. No, I'm sorry. If you're sitting there saying that, you know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to defend your rights and you're being reasonable, and that cop is just trying to mad dog you and work a position, I guess. I mean, do you see why people are being unreasonable? Why they're not just like going along with you? Why they're not complying?
And
because no one's better than me. I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna let you act like you are.
What Dustin Stewart said, you can't just run into a situation all gung ho and think you're going to calm the situation down.
Well, yeah, no, like that's literally like that would be like running into any room, screaming at the top of your lungs as angrily as you can. Hey, let's go hang out and watch a movie. No, everyone in that room's gonna look at you like you're fucking nuts, bro. See ya. Like, you know what I mean? Like people are gonna look at you like, okay, no, we're not gonna watch that show. We're gonna have a discussion on what you just did. Like you just went in and caused a problem for zero reason.
You mean to tell me I'm not supposed to go into a room and scream that?
Well, I mean, I can't say you're not supposed to, but it's kind of like it's frowned upon, like jerking off on a bus.
Oh, I thought, okay, that's not illegal though.
It depends on where you're at, I guess. One is, depending on where you're at, I mean, you can check Chuck E. Cheese off the list of places you're allowed around.
But yeah, it's just
depends on how you look at it.
I didn't think me and you was gonna be talking law enforcement, but this is fun.
Hey man, like I said, I'm one of those people. I like to talk. B, but I like to. If you can actually have a decent conversation, you know what I mean? Like yeah. I can do it. And it's not. I've been on a couple podcasts where it was the same old mundane questions. If you've watched any of my videos, you already know the answer to those questions. You know what I mean? Like you've ever seen one of them, you know the answer to those questions.
Yeah.
This is at least fun.
So are you a marijuana advocate?
No. Me and the devil's lettuce don't get along. Just like people with tattoos. Freak.
Freaking going to hell.
Yeah. Oh, look. Before I leave on that one, I don't hate on nobody, you know what I mean, for their beliefs, whatever. I just feel like when it came to the Bible, we just misinterpreted some things. I don't feel like there was ever a heaven or hell, you know what I mean, like demons that ravage you. And I feel like that was mental health. That was you beating yourself up for not, you know what I mean. We all have shit that we wish we'd have done better, things we wish we could have done over, and you tear yourself apart about it every freaking day. Missed opportunities, it is what it is. I feel like when that was read, people put a very literal spin on it instead of what it was, and it's just a decent way to be a decent human being. Yeah, and people have killed people and everything else over it.
The same people that are like, gay is wrong because it's in the Bible. You know what? The United States was founded under separation of church and state. If it is in the Bible and that's a reason to make something illegal, it shouldn't be illegal.
Yeah, dude, listen. It also tells me that I can throw rocks at people that are taller than me too, and that people are going to cheer me for it. So
you're not supposed to play football either. Hands should not touch pigskin or whatever it is.
And I mean, look how many times we weren't good enough and the fucking earth got flooded or shit happened because we weren't doing what we were supposed to be doing.
Shellfish. You're not supposed to eat shellfish.
Oh, you're supposed to eat anything, really. You know what I mean? If you think about it, like, you're not supposed to eat anything. Everything's got a life. Vegetables. If you think about it, we're supposed to sit here and just suck air and hope for the best.
You know, we're talking like morals and stuff. I'm not saying he didn't have morals, so don't hate on me for that. But you're talking about like you're not supposed to be gay. Jesus made water into wine. He was an alcoholic. Like, what are you talking? Like,
right? He made water into wine. He laid with. They even said he laid with hookers and downtrodden whores. So he was partying too, bro.
Why is it that we as Americans have depicted him as like looking like Tommy Chong?
Because we as Americans have to see beautiful things. To see pretty things. Of course he would have long hair. There'd be no way to cut it. Don't you think his hair would have been a little more matted up? Like, what was he doing, brushing it?
Yeah, and also he was Middle Eastern.
I feel like his hair would look more like yours, and he'd be a whole lot darker. He'd look more like the art club than me.
We have some feedback going on. Is somebody mowing over there or something?
No, my headphones just died.
You're good. But yeah, Jesus is actually Middle Eastern, and for some reason, us Americans, not all of us, but as a whole, we've always had issues, and in the words of George Carlin, with brown people.
And that's the craziest part about it. We had an issue with quote unquote people of color.
Yeah.
If anyone would actually think about it, but I mean, let's face facts. Some white people really want to believe that we're the best. Just can't see past the fact that man was from where he's from. Look at most people from like the Jerusalem area, the Middle Eastern area. Most of them don't look like us.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from? Aside from the fact that we think we're better than everybody. So he had to be white. Come on.
And I saw this post that's hilarious. It
Even
says,
he said freaking white people.
There's this post that I saw. It says, you know what wasn't in the Bible? White people.
Facts. There was none of them. Not one. Okay, we came after the fact. We're that guy that shows up at the buffet late and then cuts in the middle of the line, grabs whatever the last of the pizza was, and says, that was for me. Well, that's what happened here.
But going back to the whole police thing, going in with guns and shit and that suicide thing. Sorry, we're all over the place, but we finish every topic. Eventually. Going into a place with that many cops with guns is like a fireman walking into a house fire with a match.
Right. Like, here, I'm going to put this out. Walking in with gasoline, dumping it behind me. I'll put it out. Give me a second, guys. It's like right before you poop. It makes no sense at all. Because, okay, if you walk into a situation where someone, like I said, was already suicidal, already feeling some kind of way, they were obviously already hostile and not feeling themselves. Yeah. You went in, put guns in his face, screamed at him, told him to go on the ground. They never once said that he was a threat to anyone other than himself.
Yeah.
So you put him in a more vulnerable situation and said, okay, you'll be all right.
And what's fucked up is when cops do fucked up things, the police department, I'm not blaming the cops per se, but the police department will put them on paid leave. They will let them get away with it and fire them. Hold them accountable in a court of law.
If you walked into work tomorrow and just mollywhopped a freaking customer, like just meleeed them, they're going to fire you, press charges, whatever, but because you don't have a badge, there's not as much honor that has to be protected. So they got to keep it under wraps. No, it's bullshit.
Hold people accountable. Cops are not above the law. Cops are not above the law.
If anything else, they are more, they need to be held to a higher standard to the law because they know the law. They're supposed to be enforcing the law. They shouldn't be doing anything illegal if anyone isn't, because it's one thing for us to do it illegal because we didn't go to school to learn and we couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's certain shit that y'all are saying we're doing wrong that no one ever told us was quote unquote illegal until y'all do. So why the fuck are y'all making the same mistakes I do then?
You know what's crazy about
ahead of time you're wrong.
You know what's crazy about laws though is they'll pass laws and not tell us. Like that they'll pull us over and arrest us and we didn't know it was against law. There should be like a warning or something.
And the craziest part about it is people let that kind of stuff happen for years and it's illegal. They're not allowed to pass laws about it. We're supposed to be the ones telling them if it's okay or not.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be the ones agreeing to it. Like, you know what? I can see that. It's reasonable. Why are y'all making laws and shit without actually asking the people? You're supposed to be representing us.
Before
what's in our best interest.
Before social media was huge, it was trial and error.
Well, see, that's honestly the fall of the government at that point in time was social media. At the time, let's face facts, you could only talk to people that was in your area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was it. You talk to people that was in your area. Now, we can talk to people from India. We can talk to people from everywhere. So people from Washington see shit happening. People see the same shit happening over here in Indiana. Same stuff happening over here in California. Same stuff happening up here in freaking, Vermont. we're going to post about it. Everyone's got a phone now. Everyone's got a camera.
Yeah.
That was because they were able to, they could hide a lot of shit with the media. They could spin it however they wanted to. They could make shit go away. Look at the Sinbad movie.
Yeah.
Just because he felt some kind of way about crack, he made a whole movie disappear until the internet happened.
Yep. There's been whole ass movies that you can't find anymore.
Right, like I said, Shazam.
That never happened.
he finally admitted that it did. He was on I can't remember what radio show it was, but he did get on and finally say that he made the movie. He explained why they covered it up for him and how much money it cost him to get it covered up. They finally have Sinbad on record admitting that movie happened.
Because the thing I heard about it was the reasoning why people misremembered, and since you said it's real, but this is from before this whole interview.
Right.
People were saying the reason why people misremembered is because Sinbad was originally casted to play in the Shaq movie Kazam, and Shaq ended up taking that role, and it's the same movie.
Well, and it is the exact same movie. They actually remade it because of the Sinbad situation. That way they could.
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect at all? I know that that's one that you know, but you want to hear one that's really fucked up? And even like schools taught me differently. And now that I'm older, it doesn't make sense. When JFK was assassinated, how many people were in that car?
They're saying there's only 3.
No. In our history books, it says there was a driver, a passenger, a guy in the middle, and then JFK and his wife.
Right. Yeah, there was supposed to be 5. They said there was only 3 people. Last one I've seen.
Well, there's 3, not including the driver and the passenger. When I was in school, okay, that bench seat that guy was sitting in the middle of didn't exist when I was in school, because they taught me that there was a magic bullet that hit JFK, went down, went out, and hit the passenger. If there's a bench seat in the way now, that police report doesn't make sense.
Have you seen the footage they've got? That you can look up footage now where it's a different angle that they may be able to clean up, where you can see the passenger turn around and it looks like he's pointing a gun at JFK's head.
No, I have not seen that one.
Google it. Look it up. There is a video. It's a cleaned up, but you can see the passenger turn and he's holding his arm out like this, and it's right before that. And if you look at the way JFK's head bounces, the trajectory would make perfect sense.
You know what's crazy though is to think.
And they had two different gunmen that got in trouble for that too.
You know what the Mandela effect is, for those who aren't familiar? Are you familiar with what it exactly is, what they believe causes this?
No. What do they say actually causes it? I know, man, I've done a lot on the Mandela effect itself. What do they say actually causes the Mandela effect?
Well, scientifically, they're claiming people are misremembering by large portions, but the big conspiracy theory is that there are alternate universes and we are waking up in a different body spiritually. So we are still remembering what happened in our previous universe, but this current universe does not coincide with that.
Well, and I wouldn't even hate on that, because they're saying that the stovetop stuffing video commercial never happened. That it was crap. It was Stouffer's. I remember the jingle. But no, it was crap.
You know what's crazy? Jiffy peanut butter never existed. It was always Jif.
Yeah, and it was definitely. Sorry.
What's his name? Curious George.
Had a tail.
That motherfucker never had a tail.
The Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, Berenstain Bears.
Right, I'm sorry. I remember listening to the Berenstain Bears. The Berenstain Bears.
So do you think we're misremembering, or there's a higher thing going on?
Well, I think there's something else at work there, because there was something else. I can't remember what the hell it was right now off the top of my head. But it was something that we'd all learned in school. Oh, about blood being blue in the body.
Yeah.
And they said, no, it's just us misremembering from the textbook diagrams being blue. And it's like, no, I distinctly remember being told that our blood was blue inside of our body until it hit oxygen. But it never made sense, because your blood is oxygenated.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember hearing that, because they always told us the reason why our veins are bluish green is because our veins are actually clear, and that's the color of the blood.
Yep. Well, now they're saying that was never taught. It was never a thing. That no one's ever heard of it. And it's like, wait a second. I've made posts about that where I've got 15, 16 million freaking views on it. They've got 100 and 200,000 likes on them with a couple thousand comments of people that all seem to remember the exact same thing.
Another
From
crazy,
way different things.
Another crazy thing, this happened. This is why it's called the Mandela effect. Nelson Mandela was arrested and was in prison for like 15 to 20 years. Many people remember him dying in prison.
Yeah.
When in reality, he became the president of Africa and he ended up dying of natural causes.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't remember because that was a long time, like before I was born, when he was like in prison. So I remember him as the African president. But a lot of people from the 80s and stuff remember him dying in prison.
Well, see, and I've talked to my grandma about that, and she said they were taught that he died in prison because that was the whole thing. He wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink anything because of how his people were being treated, or the people that he couldn't handle it no more. Everyone was being so nasty to everybody, so he went on a hunger strike and he died in prison. And then you go and read anything in textbooks nowadays, and that story isn't even there.
Do you think it was due to lack of technology back then and people just being told, like one person said this and it just spread like wildfire?
I don't know if it was so much that, because everyone seems to remember it being taught in school. I think I truthfully believe, and this is just me, that when they made them textbooks and stuff for schooling, they knew what they knew. And now to make themselves not look as bad, they changed some shit up and just pretended like it never happened. No, we've always taught you the right thing. Y'all just screwed up. Y'all all screwed up. Now our books were fine. Our teachers taught what we were supposed to.
Well,
I think they were just right for the time, but it was just wrong.
I agree with you, but I also see things from what other people are saying. They are saying that our brains are funky, and there's sometimes we will misremember things from our childhood, or we'll just like think of things that we thought happened, but they didn't, which could also be it. Because think about it, your human brain, let's say there's this person, this is a legit story. This person was misdiagnosed with cancer and died due to the symptoms of cancer, but the autopsy said they didn't actually have it. So your brain is kind of wonky in that way, where it will...
Well, the human brain, we've only actually learned very little, I mean, if anything, about what our brain is actually capable of. But truth be told, there's just, if you look at the way deja vu is, and you look at the cases of younger kids that have led people to missing persons reports, and like, I mean, that took them to like where their body was for their past life. I mean, look it up. There has been hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of kids, little kids, taking people directly to a spot where there's a freaking another body buried. Like, deja vu in itself is something that we don't understand at all. There's some half-assed quack theories of why it happens, but I know you, as well as anybody else who's watching, has had that moment where you're like, I've seen this before. I've heard this before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you know for a fact that you don't know if it was while you were sleeping or whatever, but like, I know it happens to me all the damn time. And there's no cognitive explanation for why we have deja vu as bad as we do when we have it.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the human brain is something that I don't know that we'll ever fully understand, because there's no good reason that we exist.
Mm-hmm.
As people, there's just no, for what we can do and the functions that our brain does on a day-to-day basis that we don't think about, like, we make no sense.
True. The human brain is a scary place. And I was wondering, though, Nelson Mandela, back on that topic, he wasn't president of Africa when he was arrested. So, like, I'm not that big into, like, that part of the history. I'd like to learn more. Was he, like, a big activist or something back in the day? That's why he's popular?
Yes. Nelson Mandela was someone who stood up for the people. And, like I said, he was an activist of his time, and when he was in prison, especially for the reason he was in prison, he chose not to eat whatever. He became a fucking celebrity for that. You know what I mean? Like, people genuinely got behind how much he cared about people. As far as that is concerned, I don't know anything from there.
Why can't we get an activist as president in this country?
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. Was like I said, we need an activist or a working man as a president, someone who genuinely understands what it's like to be on the other side. Because you have too many rich people who have always been rich making decisions for poor people who have never known what it's like to be poor.
We almost had an activist president. We almost, with Bernie Sanders. Almost.
Dude, I think people, I mean, and I know people hate Bernie, whatever. I think people fucked up with letting Bernie off the hook and not putting him in the office, because Bernie is actually at least for the people. Yeah. Bernie at least understands what it's, you know what I mean? Bernie understands what life actually is. So they say you have a bunch of rich people that have never had to struggle. They don't know what, most people don't know what a gallon of gas costs nowadays. They don't fill their own cars up. They don't do their own shopping. They don't, you know what I mean? They have people to do that for them. So the realistic expectations of how they set our SNAP benefits by state case, how they set up how much money people get a month is insane, because it's based off an archaic system where our fucking cost of living has gone up 70% since the last 7-8 years ago that they even revisited how much they give people on the state base.
If you want to know the great about Bernie, and we're not even going to get into politics with him, we might, but not with my statement. Bernie Sanders marched side by side with Martin Luther King when that wasn't the cool thing to do as a white Jewish man.
and instead, we went for Biden, who literally has been to, well, I ain't gonna get into that, but instead we voted for him, who is openly racist. That crime bill proved that. Some of his other statements have proved that. Just because he was fucking vice president to Barack Obama does not make that man not racist. I don't care. Like, his words make him racist as shit.
During this election, it might have just been me, but I'm like, okay, we have Donald Trump and Joe Biden who have the same policies and who are the same person.
Except for one stutters a lot and the other one loses train of thought really fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Donald Trump is not a smart man. He might make good business decisions, whatever, cool.
Not even that. He bankrupted a casino 4 times.
Other than that too, but I mean, he came into money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Biden came into money. Like, we need people that are actually that have been part of the struggle.
Like Bernie.
Bernie would have been a better choice, but people wanted the popularity contest instead of what actually would have fucking worked.
And Americans, and I'm not singling anybody out, but Americans are afraid of the word socialism.
Well, and yes, they are. My God.
And socialism isn't what people think. It's not communism. There's a difference. There has been more countries that turned to communism that were originally capitalist. Germany, when Adolf Hitler,
with a capitalist system, it gives you the chance to get absolute power. You look at what's happened over the past couple of years. Let's being free people to, in our capitalist society, money is absolute power. Money is all that matters. Your statue is all that matters. That's it. I mean, that sounds a lot like something else, doesn't it?
Yeah. And Nazi Germany didn't become a thing until Hitler was elected from a capitalist system. He was a capitalist. Well, he wasn't, but it was a capitalist system. He was not a socialist, even though the Nazi Party has socialism in its name. He was more of a fascist, and he was more of a communist than anything.
There's just things that, let's be honest, there are how many families at the top that have all the money?
Yep.
Billions and billions of dollars. Who needs that much? Once you make $1 billion, you should get like a little fucking debit card that just gives you the rest of your shit for free. You made $1 billion. The rest of your life is on easy street. Put the rest of that fucking money back in the economy. Put it into fucking building houses for the homeless. Because that's a tax write-off every fucking year. You fund that damn thing, you can get federal grants that would help with that. Like, why aren't more people that are in positions with money doing more to help? I don't understand it. They're trying to hoard it all when like you can only spend so much money in a lifetime. I don't really care how you spend it. Your family's still going to have money with $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just all I can say is once I get on, watch what I do with it, because there's a difference with people. We should put money in the hands of people who have been broke, who have had horrible fucking past, because they're the people that are going to actually do something with that money.
Yeah.
They're the people you see out here helping people. The people who are the most beaten down are the ones that will give you the shirt off their back.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we're giving these stuffed shirt, selfish ass people who they were raised selfish all the money in the world and saying, here, now make decisions for us.
And that all goes back to what Ronald Reagan's trickle down economics that never fucking worked.
Well, no, see, it would work if they'd actually tried. If you could fucking, the system we had in place for that, yeah, no, it would have been fucking shit. But if you actually thought about it, with the amount of money that's out there right now, the 100 fucking things are people's.
Your audio got a little quiet. Oh, I can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you, bro. Hold on. It's live, folks. This shit happens. I didn't mute you. I promise.
No, I actually got to take off, bud. That was the middle school calling. I'm assuming something to do with one of my kids. So
Okay.
with that, I hate to cut it short, bud.
Would you like to do a part 2?
Absolutely, bro. Set it up.
All right, let's do this. How about next month? Because we have several openings next month.
Pick a day. Let me know what time to be here, Bubba.
All right, will do. I'll see you, brother.
All love, guys. I appreciate you guys for having me and hanging out, listening to me rant and rave. Thank you, Mike, for having me on, bro. It was a fucking blast.
No problem, brother. Have fun at the middle school. That sounds wrong. Have fun picking your daughter up at the middle school.
Later, Bubba.
Later, bro. That was Matt Cooper, guys. Go check him out. He's with Porch Gang. He is on Instagram at @official_Porch Gang. He's also on TikTok. Same link. If you want to, down in the not the comment section, but down in the description below is all of his information. And I'd like to bring Naomi on just for 1 minute. I know she's not feeling good, but I'd like to thank her for all her hard work. Thank you, Naomi.
Yes, all right.
And until next time, remember, and also next week, don't forget to wear your costume, Naomi, because we are doing a Halloween.
No, I've got it ready.
We have I don't have one yet, but I have an idea.
Great.
Next week, November 1st, we also have an open invitation. We've invited several guests, so hopefully they show up. If not, it's still going to be a fun episode. Thank you, Matt, for joining. We will have a part 2. And until next time, live long. Oh, wait, I forgot something. Naomi. Forgot to give shout outs. Go check out
shout outs.
Go check out In the Trenches with Ryan Roxy. His podcast is live, every Friday now. He recently did an episode with members of the Ace Frehley Band, which is going to be awesome. We also have Kathy Grant's Reignite. She recently had Susie Q on. Amazing episode. We also have Sabbath Sunday live stream Sunday, which is with our other host, Adam Gurak. I'm not even going to call them co-hosts anymore. You all are hosts. You come on whenever. Come and go. We also have Condemned Culture Clothing. We also have the Rock and Row podcast. It's making a comeback, or videocast, or whatever he calls it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go check out all those other projects of all of my friends, and go check out Matt Cooper on TikTok and all social media. He is the bearded badass. He is the your friendly neighborhood fat man. He says it, not me. Love you all. Live long.